The discovery of the wheel is the most pivotal invention in human history, sparking a revolution that transformed civilizations forever. As this simple yet ingenious device began to turn, it set in motion a cascade of innovations that reshaped the course of our species. In the scorching deserts and fertile plains of Mesopotamia, around 4000 BCE, the seeds of a revolution were sown. The land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, often referred to as the cradle of civilization, was home to some of the most innovative and resourceful people of the ancient world. It was here that the earliest cities, such as Uruk and Ur, began to take shape, giving rise to complex societies with specialized labor, governance, and trade. As the population grew and urban centers expanded, the need for efficient transportation and logistics became increasingly pressing. The Sumerians, Babylonians, and other Mesopotamian civilizations relied heavily on rivers and canals for trade and commerce, but the limitations of waterborne transport were becoming apparent. Goods had to be laboriously loaded and unloaded, and the unpredictability of river currents and flooding made it a precarious endeavor. It was against this backdrop that the earliest experiments with wheel-like technology emerged. The potter's wheel, which dates back to around 3500 BCE, is often cited as one of the earliest examples of a rotating device. Skilled artisans would use this primitive wheel to shape and spin clay into symmetrical, functional vessels, demonstrating an early understanding of the principles of rotation and torque. As urbanization intensified, so did the demand for more efficient means of transporting goods and people. The construction of elaborate temples, palaces, and city walls required the movement of massive stone blocks, often weighing several tons. The logistics of such endeavors were daunting, and it is likely that early engineers and inventors began to explore alternative solutions, including the use of rolling logs or other primitive devices to reduce friction and facilitate movement. In the ancient Sumerian city of Uruk, around 3200 BCE, archaeologists have uncovered evidence of a sophisticated system of roads and highways, suggesting a high degree of planning and organization. The presence of these early road networks implies a growing need for overland transportation, which would have further accelerated the development of wheel-based technology. As the road networks of Uruk and other Mesopotamian cities continued to expand, the need for more efficient transportation solutions became increasingly urgent. It is likely that early engineers and inventors began to experiment with various forms of wheel-based technology, including the use of rotating axles and wooden wheels. The presence of copper and bronze tools in the region would have facilitated the construction of more sophisticated devices, such as wheeled carts and chariots. One of the most significant archaeological discoveries shedding light on this period is the Ljubljana Marshes wheel, dated to around 3350 BCE. Found in present-day Slovenia, this remarkably well-preserved wooden wheel measures approximately 52 centimeters in diameter and 5 centimeters in width. Its discovery suggests that the concept of the wheel had already spread beyond Mesopotamia, reaching the edges of Europe through trade and cultural exchange. The development of wheeled transportation would have had a profound impact on the daily lives of people in ancient Mesopotamia. Merchants could now transport goods over longer distances, connecting cities and towns across the region. The construction of monumental architecture, such as the ziggurat of Ur, would have been greatly facilitated by the use of wheeled devices to move massive stone blocks into place. In the ancient city of Sumer, around 2300 BCE, the use of wheeled carts became increasingly common. These early vehicles were likely simple platforms mounted on rotating axles, used for transporting goods and people through the city's bustling streets. The presence of wheeled transportation would have also enabled the development of more complex societies, with specialized labor and trade networks. As the wheel continued to evolve, its impact on ancient Mesopotamian society became more pronounced. The construction of elaborate irrigation systems, such as the one found at the ancient city of Lagash, would have been greatly facilitated by the use of wheeled devices to move earth and stone. The increased efficiency of transportation and logistics would have also enabled the growth of cities, as people were no longer limited by the need to live in close proximity to agricultural land. The spread of wheel-based technology throughout ancient Mesopotamia was likely facilitated by the region's extensive trade networks. merchants and travelers would have carried knowledge of the wheel and its applications to distant cities and towns, where local innovators would have adapted and improved upon these ideas. The result was a rapid proliferation of wheeled devices, transforming the social, economic, and cultural landscape of ancient Mesopotamia. In the ancient city of Babylon, around 2800 BCE, the use of wheeled chariots became a hallmark of royal power and prestige. These elaborate vehicles, often decorated with intricate carvings and precious metals, were used by rulers to convey their status and authority. The development of wheeled chariots would have also enabled the creation of more complex military tactics, as armies could now rapidly mobilize and deploy troops across the battlefield. As the use of wheeled chariots became more widespread in ancient Mesopotamia, their impact on warfare and trade cannot be overstated. The city-state of Sumer, around 2600 BCE, provides a fascinating example of how wheeled chariots revolutionized military tactics. The Sumerian king, Herodotus, is known to have deployed wheeled chariots in his conquest of the neighboring city-state of Umma, allowing his army to rapidly mobilize and overwhelm their enemies. The development of more advanced wheel-based technology also facilitated the growth of trade networks across ancient Mesopotamia. The ancient city of around 2500 BCE, became a major hub for merchants and traders, with goods such as grains, textiles, and metals being transported on wheeled carts and chariots from all over the region. The use of standardized wheels and axles enabled the construction of more efficient vehicles, capable of carrying heavier loads over longer distances. One of the most significant archaeological discoveries shedding light on this period is the Royal Standard of dated to around 2600 BCE. This exquisite artifact, discovered in the royal cemetery at features intricate carvings depicting wheeled chariots and carts, providing valuable insights into the daily life and military tactics of ancient Sumerian society. As the wheel continued to evolve, its impact on ancient Mesopotamian society extended beyond transportation and warfare. The spread of wheel-based technology throughout ancient Mesopotamia was also influenced by the region's extensive network of roads and highways. The ancient city of Nippur, around 2400 BCE, became a major hub for trade and commerce, with merchants and travelers from all over the region passing through its gates. The use of wheeled carts and chariots enabled the rapid transportation of goods and people, facilitating the growth of complex societies and the development of specialized labor. In the ancient city of Akkad, around 2300 BCE, the use of wheeled devices became even more widespread, with evidence of wheeled carts and chariots being used in a variety of contexts, from agriculture to warfare. The Akkadian Empire, which stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea, provides a fascinating example of how wheel-based technology facilitated the growth of complex societies and the development of extensive trade networks. The reign of Sargon the Great, who founded the Akkadian Empire around 2334 BCE, marks a significant turning point in the history of wheeled transportation. Sargon's military campaigns, which stretched from Mesopotamia to the Indus Valley, would have relied heavily on the use of wheeled chariots and carts, allowing his armies to rapidly mobilize and conquer vast territories. The development of more advanced wheel-based technology during this period would have also facilitated the growth of trade networks, enabling the exchange of goods and ideas across vast distances. As the Akkadian Empire continued to expand, the use of wheeled devices became even more widespread, with evidence of wheeled carts and chariots being used in a variety of contexts, from agriculture to warfare. The ancient city of Babylon, around 2200 BCE, provides a fascinating example of how wheel-based technology facilitated the growth of complex societies and the development of specialized labor. The third dynasty of which ruled from around 2112 to 2004 BCE, provides a fascinating example of how wheel-based technology facilitated the growth of complex societies and the development of specialized labor. As the third dynasty of came to an end around 2004 BCE, the use of wheeled devices continued to spread throughout Mesopotamia, with evidence of their adoption found in the ancient cities of Larsa and Isim. The Amorite kingdoms that rose to power during this period, including the first dynasty of Babylon, also made extensive use of wheeled transportation, facilitating the growth of trade networks and the development of complex societies. One notable example of the impact of wheel-based technology on ancient Mesopotamian society can be seen in the reign of Hammurabi, who ruled Babylon from around 1792 to 1750 BCE. During his reign, Hammurabi oversaw the construction of extensive road networks which enabled the rapid transportation of goods and people across the empire. The use of wheeled carts and chariots also played a key role in Hammurabi's military campaigns, allowing him to expand Babylon's territories and establish it as a major power in the region. The spread of wheel-based technology also had significant consequences for the development of ancient Mesopotamian agriculture. With the ability to transport goods more efficiently, farmers were able to produce surplus crops, which in turn enabled the growth of cities and the development of specialized labor. The use of wheeled devices also facilitated the construction of complex irrigation systems, such as those found at the ancient city of Lagash, which enable farmers to cultivate land that would otherwise have been unsuitable for agriculture. As the centuries passed, the use of wheel-based technology continued to evolve and spread throughout the ancient Near East. The Hittite Empire, which rose to power in central Anatolia during the 2nd millennium BCE, made extensive use of wheeled chariots in their military campaigns, while the Mycenaean civilization in Greece also adopted the use of wheeled vehicles for transportation and warfare. The eventual decline of the wheel's impact on ancient Mesopotamian society came with the rise of the Assyrian Empire, which ruled much of the Near East from the 10th to the 7th centuries BCE. While the Assyrians continued to use wheeled devices for transportation and warfare, their empire was also heavily reliant on the use of horses and other pack animals, which gradually supplanted the wheel as the primary mode of transportation. Despite this, the legacy of the wheel's discovery continued to shape the course of human history, with its impact felt in the development of ancient civilizations from Egypt to China. The use of wheeled devices also played a significant role in the spread of ideas and technologies across the ancient world, facilitating the exchange of goods, cultures, and innovations that would eventually give rise to the modern world. The final phase of the wheel's evolution in ancient Mesopotamia came with the rise of the Achaemenid Empire, which ruled much of the Near East from the 6th to the 4th centuries BCE. Under the rule of emperors such as Darius I and Xerxes I, the use of wheeled devices continued to play a significant role in transportation and warfare, with the construction of extensive road networks and the development of complex logistics systems. As the Achaemenid Empire eventually gave way to the conquests of Alexander the Great, the use of wheel-based technology continued to evolve and spread throughout the ancient world. The Hellenistic period that followed saw the widespread adoption of wheeled devices for transportation and warfare, with the construction of extensive road networks and the development of complex logistics systems. The wheel's impact on human history would continue to be felt for centuries to come, shaping the course of civilization and facilitating the exchange of goods, cultures, and innovations that would eventually give rise to the modern world. The discovery of the wheel in ancient Mesopotamia marked the beginning of a long and complex process of technological innovation, one that would have far-reaching consequences for human society and continue to shape the course of history to this day. The wheel's influence can be seen in the rise and fall of civilizations, the growth of global trade networks, and the development of modern technologies. It is a testament to human ingenuity and creativity, and a reminder that even the smallest discoveries can have far-reaching consequences. The wheel has turned, and with it, the course of history has been forever changed. Thank you for joining me throughout this historical journey. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.